Hey, good morning, guys. It is 6:29. I'm a minute early because I have no red pup here. So I'm trying to make sure I could get on and talk to my dogs around the world, get prepared for the day, hopefully figure out some ways to make some money, stay safe, and just keep our process moving. So before we get to it, let me say hello to my early morning dogs. What up, Jason? We got Jason out in Albany. That's where I went to. That's where I went to school. I grew up in Long Island, so SUNY Albany was a good spot for me. Didn't have to pay too much, didn't have to take on any college debt, so I don't need anything forgiven, as I also worked my way through school. But anyway, what up, Toronto? How you doing? What up, Brooklyn? It's good to see you again, nice and consistent. It's always rising and grinding. It's where do you live? I think he told me, but I don't remember exactly where. Um, a little Van Halen in the morning could wake you up. Cheers to everybody tuning in, getting yourself together, hopefully from safe spots around the world that you're allowed to stay in based on your own free will. Garden City, what up? All right, my dad actually had a business in Garden City. We could talk about that. What up in Nova Scotia? We got Saco, Maine. We got Satellite Beach. Teaching Joe. We got a bunch of you guys. We got a Philly dad in the house, MLD. I know you. What up, Texas? How's it going? A lot of people from Milburn High School trying to get into UT, and you guys are very, very selective. I think all the colleges around the country, rebelled against certain types of neighborhoods, but we won't get into that. Anyway, good to see the kids now wearing masks. About friggin' time. Shaky Cali, I hear you. Yeah, last night I was actually, the wind came in, the lightning came in, and I have a hot tub in my backyard, and the top flew off, and I had to grab the top. It felt like a movie. My wife's like, "Get inside!" Chase is all upset. The dog's barking. I'm like trying to get the top and screw it in, but anyway, I didn't get hit by lightning, so that's why I'm here. What up, Erica? How you doing? We got Chicago in the house. Chase is a little upset right now. Chicago's the fifth seed. They got to start stepping it up. They got to get healthy. That's his number one NBA team. They've been good fun to watch, though. I'll tell you that much. What up, Marlboro? How you doing? We got Uruguay in the house. You know what? You know who we're missing? We're missing my friends from Ukraine. My friends from Ukraine 3 weeks ago or so. Every day there'd be like 7 of them on them, getting ready to trade the Open, and now they're out fighting for their lives. Crazy. What up, Austin? How you doing? What up, Lincoln Harbor? What up, UK? Chisler? There you go. I'm trying. What up, Nevo? How you doing? Got it's back in the house. UNC, you guys spoiled Coach K's last home game. Anyway, listen, sports is sports. You always got to have some spoilers out there, right? What up, Belmore? How you doing? You're on the south side of 135 Expressway. What up, Captain Miro? All right, let's get going here. It is 6:32. Lots of questions out there, so let's get to them. Alexa off. All right, so let's get to it. Hopefully you read the disclosure. I was told by compliance I got to start putting the disclosure up, and now let's get to the charts. So at this particular point, not the easiest setup in the world, considering yesterday the market came in, what, 3% almost across the board to make it about 12% off the highs in the S&P. A lot of people are like, Red Dog, are we going to hold the February 24th lows? I'm like, you know what? I have opinions here, but I don't really have that strong of opinions. The S&P is down 12% off the highs, and this has been a basically normal pullback. In the past 20 years, there's been a lot of pullbacks. I'll actually post the stats, but doesn't this feel a little abnormal? Doesn't this feel like we just had a crazy move since 2020? Doesn't it feel like we've been up 100% in 3 years, and now you have this crazy crisis in Ukraine? You have commodities through the roof. You have the Fed having to dial back accommodations. So to me, I'm not in such a rush to put my wife's cash account to work. I do put in flows every single month for my 401k, my wife's 401k. I am in tactical mode in my active accounts, my swing account, my box account, and my options account, and trying to just, play out the fluid situation. Europe put in a bounce this morning and reversed. That's why our futures reversed. If you go here, everyone's like, oh, why are we up this morning? Well, sometimes they try and take back a little bit of the prior session. And if you look here, it's not like Europe's having a blockbuster move. You have the DAX up 0.5% after being down probably, 15% last week, 21% off the highs. So to me, that's not such a potent bounce. So don't feel like you're missing something just because the SPYs are up $1.50. The CAC's up a little bit more. Asia is that was showing relative strength during last week, started to play some downside catch up. So if you look at Asia, it's actually I think the Nikkei was up like 1.7%, Shanghai down 2%, and so the bottom line is not every day is going to take you to a bottom. Not every day is going to be some crazy inflection point. Some days are just a day in the life where you need to net some money. And some days like yesterday are the days where you have to be careful. Some guys made a lot of money short and some just kind of out of the way. I made a bit of money. Actually, I made money buying pre-market yesterday. The EWG, the Qs, Apple, Microsoft, and into the first move, I pretty much got rid of my risk. And then I saw a lot of key names like Amazon, Google, Facebook, all of them getting below Friday's lows. So I'm like, you know what, this is a weak tape. Kind of stayed out of the way. I let my commodity call spreads in gold and silver work, and I was very happy to make money on a day when we were down pretty big. Some guys like you better start making some bigger money short. I'm like, okay, everyone has their own skill set that they feel comfortable. You don't have to be in every trade at all times. So if you look here at the chart of the SPYs, this was the really key spot last week. Okay, there's always a key spot in the market that you have to acknowledge. And after this reversal low that we saw on February 24th, it was hard to tell what would be next. Would we have another push up or would we fail and roll over? And right here is where we had that red dog reversal sell around 438. Okay, then you held support one time, which was Friday, and then boom, broke it fast. So now the SPYs are up about $1.79, right a little bit above 421. So that's right here. So all it's doing is taking back this little spot. So I would think that this 427 is going to be key resistance that if we do try and bounce back up, that's where sellers reject price. You have two camps right now. One saying, Red Dog, I think we hold 410 to 420. We're going to reverse today. And the Elliott Wave guys are saying that that was the correction. But then you go to the weekly chart here, and to me, it's hard to tell that that was it, overall. This is more of like a macro look. If you look at the macro look, by the way, remember the taper tantrum that we spoke about that I said, hey, that's when the Fed had to reduce accommodation. That was in 2018. There, the S&P fell almost 20% and the NASDAQ 24%. So if the S&P is only down about 12%, which, correlates to 2018 without friggin' Russia invading the Ukraine, without oil back at 135 plus, you would think you need to be a bit more careful just in case they want to take it below 410 to 400, and who knows, maybe there's, we'll see how we have some price, discovery there. But all in all, a bounce attempt was rejected at 458. This bounce attempt was rejected into 444, and now we see, what's kind of happening here. But that's the bigger picture, So the question is, how do we net money today? So to me, this isn't the best setup in the world. I don't love when we close on the dead lows and all of a sudden the futures are up. I'd rather be down 20 handles and after a move like that, maybe buy versus a 15-minute low. Oh, I didn't take my jacket off. Time to get to business. So there are some guys like, hey, Red Dog, we were so weak yesterday, just like when you close strong and you open down, you're buying it. He's like, you close weak and you gap up a little bit, you fade that to go red. So that could happen. So maybe we open up, all of a sudden sellers come back, they try and take us below 419.51, put a low in. Maybe some things don't go down. Maybe we're a little bit washed out a little bit from yesterday, and then you reclaim 419.50 and you get some kind of bounce. If you look at the Qs have been weaker. The Qs also gave you a clue though. What's a clue? A clue is right here. Okay, this was your spot. That was on Thursday. The market tried to break this descending trend line and failed. So if you were hanging in here saying, wow, we're kind of digesting pretty well, that was your out. That was your spot to put on some put spreads. That was your spot to get short. That was your spot to reduce remaining longs. And then all of a sudden, you had this was Friday, and then boom, you broke this pivot, you broke that pivot, and we went as low as 324. So for the Qs, I would say pivot resistance is right here, 329. So I would write pivot resistance. So the question is, do we get to that spot and then get rejected? Right now, the Qs are very weak this morning. The Qs are only up 31 cents. So if you think that you missed something, it's up 31 cents. You didn't miss anything. Anyway, so the best thing for the Qs would be is all of a sudden they try and go red. You trade below 324.70, put a low in, just say like 323, come off that low. Some things try and go green. You buy it versus the low, and you make tactical cash flow. What's his president signed some cryptocurrency law? All right. Well, crypto right now has been in a corrective phase for a while. We had a nice tradable bounce, a few weeks ago that failed into 45,000, and now it's just in this channel, and it still has to figure itself out. So I think crypto, someone's like, Red Dog, you think Bitcoin gets to 100,000? Not tomorrow. We'll see. There's different phases. Right now it's in a rebuilding corrective phase, and the question is, will 32 to 34,000 hold or not? You've had some decent tactical moves to trade around things, but overall, the holdels, if you're doing that, great. I trade, the sequences, and right now I'm probably in about 45% cash. Where's oil this morning? The USO is up again. Pretty crazy, right? If you look at it, the USO is up another 2%. So if you go from here to USO, oh my goodness, what a trend. Look at that. So if you do trade using my 8 and 21 day rule, oil has been above the 8 and 21 day, or the USO has been since 65. So basically about 20 points in the USO above the 8 and 21 day. Unfortunately, we don't have stocks like Microsoft looking like that. We don't have stocks like Apple looking like that, or Amazon or Google. You have commodity names. But you know what? A lot of people have been trying to play commodity stocks. I spoke to my friend Peter this morning. He's doing absolutely fantastic. He's been accumulating energy names, and he's in gold and silver, and I'm in gold and silver too. So there's always a bull market somewhere, someone says. So if you look at the XLE, okay, look at this sector. This sector followed all of the momentum rules. If you've read my ebook on the 8 and 21 day, this has been a strong sector to have swing trades in. This has been a sector not to short. This has been a sector to look for the strongest acting names, right? Here's when it broke above 59.43, had a first move, held a 21 day, and then right here, another tradable breakout above 70 to hit as high as 77.56, and today, it's up a bit more. So if you are long, think about this day count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 days in a row it's been up. Yeah, I saw nickel is limit up. That's what's helping silver this morning. But I would trim into this, manage your swing trade, just like we manage our swing trade when FANG, where the best acting high beta tech names are going. If you're in this group and you have 4, 5, 6 different longs, congratulations. You don't care what's happening in PayPal or in Facebook or in Snap. You're in the right sector. Same way 2 years ago, if you weren't in those sectors and you were like, oh my God, Exxon, why doesn't it go? It has a dividend, it has this. There's a time and place for every sector, and it's your job to find, which sector's in place and where you want to allocate your funds. So as of right now, the XLE is still trending nicely. Right now, if you go, let's see, is the XLE above? XLE right now is right around 77.52 after a doji yesterday. I wouldn't be chasing that, but it still looks good. You're trimming your CVX. Congratulations for owning it. I had a nice swing trade in Hess, but I can't really brag about it because it was the laggard out of the group. Some guys in my ETF had Oxy, which had a really nice move, look at that. After took out this descending pendant type of pattern here, took out 43 and went as high as what yesterday? 58. So there are stocks that are using all the technical rules that we've learned. They're just not they're not the same stocks all the time. You even had a little bull flag right here, and then it took out this 49.29. So there are things to do. If you're in the right place. If you're just buying ARK because like Kathy Wood was great 2 years ago, that was 2 years ago. If you're not so comfortable in being in some of the sectors that you're not familiar with, then you have to be in boatloads of cash, especially when the overall tide is moving to the downside. Tobacco. I'm not looking at tobacco. Silver. Hi-ho. All right, let's see silver. Some guys are in a big call spread with me. Silver looks like it's just starting to get above this void of 23.50 and has a lot of room. SLV up to 27.98. If you remember, I threw this bone in your doghouse. I bought a 22 by 23.50 call spread down here, risking 30 cents to make $1.20. Above 23.50, I'm fully maxed. Did the same thing with gold. Gold, if you look here, it's been leading. Okay, we put on a call spread in here. I didn't do a biggest call spread, but still I was risking like 80 cents to make 220, and at this point it's maxed out. And this too, it looks like it's on its way towards this 194 area. But again, nice weekly chart pattern that took out this area. So yes, that's not what Apple looks like, but there are times when those names need to rebuild. So anyway, with that being said, someone asked me about Apple. Apple, I've tried to play a little bit. It's tried to show relative strength, but just like everything else, I'm not going to roll up the silver call spread. I might roll it up. I'm not sure exactly. Copper, big time highs, uranium on the move. Yeah, that's where the bull market is right now. It's not here in Apple, even though they have their event. But Apple, again, if you were playing Apple, which at some point Apple is going to come back into play and rebuild and make higher highs, but not this second. This was your spot. 168 was my spot where I got out of it. Why? Because it failed into the descending trend line. Some guys got short there. Anyway, it hit 159.05 yesterday, and now if it stays below this 162, it'll give us some clues that, hey, it can continue down to the downside. Tesla, it was up 20 yesterday, and everyone's like, oh, Red Dog, you can buy the first dip. I'm like, lately Tesla trades by appointment, meaning it shows relative strength and then all of a sudden gives way, and the market's rolling down. People are going to, probably get out of the way there too, which is what happened with Tesla yesterday. And then it broke 825, and some shorts made some good money. So now what in Tesla? I'm still short some 740 puts, but not feeling so great about it. What now? We'll see what happens here, right? This is 825, hit a low of 804, 792's there, 782's right there. It's still, not acting so special. You're getting some day trades, long and short, but it's not like when we were long it from 880 for it to get through 910 to go to 1200. And then guys made a lot of money short in this head and shoulders top pattern when it broke the moving average. So now it's still in rebuild mode. What's Tesla doing right now? Before I looked at it, it was only up 5. It's up 3. So for today, what I would think would be a good setup in Tesla is some sellers come back, they push it below 804.69, thinking you can get downside follow through. Then you get some kind of move lower in the markets. It shows some relative strength. It reclaims 804, and then you get some kind of bounce. But it's not really oversold, guys. If this wants to play downside catch up, it can. This is 804. This is like 782. So it could look 792, 780. So there's no support until about another $15 below if this were to go red. Some guys are like, hey, Red Dog, look at this, outside day. It couldn't hold a prior high. It traded through the prior day's low. Why wouldn't you want to just short, Tesla up 4 for it to go red and trade below 804.69? I'm like, you could do that too. Whichever way you want to play it. Or you just give it some space. So with that said, the VIX had a move yesterday, but it's not really doing much today. Yesterday did feel very orderly. Didn't feel like you had capitulation. It didn't feel like all of a sudden there was fear everywhere. It's just like monotonous selling. Same way, again, S&P's 12% off the highs. The NASDAQ is like 20-something% off the highs. We're in a very, very complicated scenario. To me, I'm not in a rush to put my macro money involved. I am still trading, and actually the market's been very tradable. You haven't had a lot of misdirection lately, in the last few weeks. You've had some nice tradable lows where you've had some follow through where dips have been viable, and then you've had resistance rejected where you can even get short. Today is one of the first moves in a while where you close on the dead lows and you're opening up a little bit versus opening down. If you went short to cover and to buy to go green. So today, if you're short, like I said yesterday, I'm like, guys, I wouldn't go out balls to the wall short, otherwise you're going to have to really have the conviction to add to it and figure it out. You could be low gross, low net, and still net money. There's lots of big ranges out there, lots of pivots to be prepared with. You don't need to, take excessive risk overnight based on headlines. And every headline could whip this tape around, so you don't want to be vulnerable to that. You're better off when the trade's in the motion, being there. Anyway, what's up, Steve? How you doing? It is 6:49. I'm only allowed to do 20 minutes. Thanks for tuning in early. Today we'll see what type of bounce do we have. Where does it get rejected? Do sellers come back in the first 5, 15, 30 minutes? Or do we bounce in the morning and then roll over later? Is yesterday's low the low of 2022 or the higher low of 2022? Because the lower low was February 24th. We shall see. every day the market answers questions for us as we tactically approach it. How do you tactically approach it? By getting up early, getting prepared, knowing your levels, knowing what's driving what. There's no communique today between Ukraine and Russia. I think two of the biggest, actually, diplomats who haven't met yet, are meeting on the 10th, so that's 2 more days. You have the Fed next week, so a lot of little things from, from here and there, moving forward. I'm not very excited about the open. This isn't my type of open after you get such a downdraft yesterday. I would have much rather been down 20, 30 handles, but what I want and what the market does are two different things, so I'll be patient. I'll see if there's a divergence where the futures go up and some tech names don't, and maybe you could short it, some of those names to go red, or who knows, maybe things try and pull in, names don't, and you get some kind of bounce from one level to another. So if you look here, the Qs, again, the Qs are only up 30 cents. So do the Qs get rejected at 329 and roll over, or do they push through 329 and then you have 335? So that's why you also don't want to start shorting too quickly. It's also day 3 down. You don't want to all of a sudden start shorting too quickly and get squeezed out, and then later in the day you get your rollover, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I think a lot of guys have been selling puts in quality names, but if you sell puts naked to collect the premium, you definitely have to be prepared that if it goes below there, you have enough equity to either buy those names at those strikes, or you take your loss. So whenever I sell puts into extremes, mentally I have to be like, okay, will I buy it there, and then also be able to keep the premium, which is part of the hedge, and then let it work out. I know a lot of guys who've tried to do that. They got caught being too big. All of a sudden they're selling 40 puts in Tesla, and they don't realize that, oh my goodness, I'm responsible for 4,000 shares. They were just looking at how much premium they were going to keep if it never got there. So it's kind of a complicated game, but that's a sophisticated strategy. You could spread it also. There's lots of ways to skin. I was going to say skin a cat, but that's not nice. Nice. Listen, to my friends around the world who are in troubled areas, be strong. We're thinking about you. And if you figure out or want to help, there are many ways out there to do so. Ukraine tough. Everyone's like, why are you so into the Ukraine? I'm like, well, first of all, my grandparents were from Poland, okay, and they could have been killed if they didn't leave, and they could have also been killed if the Allied forces didn't get. This is me in Kiev, and what was that? That was 2019. I've been there 4 times to see these guys. I've trained them how to trade the markets. If you look up top, I've done races with them. I teach them about fitness, got them away from smoking so many cigarettes and drinking so much vodka. And anyway, last time I was there in August, and all they wanted to do is train, trade, raise a family, buy a few apartments, live free. They were not thinking this was going to happen. And I guess anything could happen in life. So in perspection, to just be happy where you're at and don't sweat the small stuff, because when big stuff happens, you got to step it the fuck up. Anyway, Poland's doing a great job. I'm not going to get into everything else. Good luck today. I'll try and be in touch and post some charts to help out. Bye, guys. Once again, thanks for tuning in.